My name's Robin Davis. I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager for Diversity Works, a department within Scope. We're all really about getting people with disability of management caliber or management potential into work. I became blind just a few years ago, and it's really as a result of a congenital condition that I have within my family. So I knew it was coming. So I had to then adjust to becoming someone whose vision was impaired, in fact, and then removed entirely. The technologies that are particularly adapted for someone like myself with a visual impairment are the use of voice, obviously sound. And I have a computer that talks to me because it has a screen reader. I have a mobile phone that talks to me because it has a voice linked to it. I can use an MP3 player to listen to books or listen to music because there's one available that tells you what you're doing, helps you navigate through it, and helps you find and locate music or books or chapters. I use a small gadget which helps me locate and find telephone numbers and addresses. Simple things in life which, when you lose your sight, suddenly just finding someone's name, address and telephone number to call them or write them a letter becomes a big challenge. So those sorts of technologies are really, really helpful. I love films. I go to the cinema a lot, and of course nowadays you can have audio description in cinemas. But I also like to rent DVDs and watch films that maybe are not on television. And nowadays, often the DVDs come with a menu which has an audio-described track, so you can scroll down and click on an audio-described track. The problem is, if I'm at home on my own and want to watch a movie that way, to get to that track on the menu, there is no voice, so I can't actually do it. So I have this wonderful DVD, it has an audio-described track on it, but I can't navigate to get there without getting a friend or a neighbour to come in and click on the audio-described track. So they just haven't thought it through. Why don't they talk to the user and say, how can we make this work for you? Making certain that people with disability know what's out there and what's available, making it affordable, and the design accessibility. But one of the other aspects of it is that it's often very complicated, and you have to go on training courses. I've had to be trained on how to use the software I have on my PC, on how to use a scanning device, on how to use a note taker. I just wish the manufacturers would have a starting point that said, we're going to invent and produce something that is totally inclusive for all of our audience, all categories. The excuse always is, of course, it's a limited market, but I would say that with 10 million people in the UK who have some form of disability and who have an enormous spending power, that I don't really accept that argument. A big challenge for someone with visual impairment is navigating the environment. I would like a landscape where if I walked around using my white cane, which I have at the moment, whilst I'm waiting for a guide dog, that maybe talked back to me. So if I was approaching a lamppost or a crossing, something sensed my presence and told me that I was approaching a lamppost or a crossing. Street furniture is a real hazard for people with visual impairment.